these new objectives are also dealing with implementation. So they are not only a list of objectives, there are clear elements how to implement these objectives. It is very obvious that global sustainability would be a prerequisite if we would like to be serious about the eradication of poverty and hunger. So therefore, this new agenda, which will be implemented over the next year, is much more complex than the former one. It is much more ambitious than the former one. And at the starting point, we don't really know how we do all this, what is written in this list, in this new agenda, especially, for example, the necessity to see this as a kind of holistic approach. You cannot only deal with one or the other element out of this list of goals. You must bring these things together, and you must start more to think in a system approach. It is very, very important that we do away with the old thinking in which was organized in a kind of silos, also in the research sector, but also in the political field, and is correlated with everything. So therefore, we must develop new ways, not only of thinking, but also of doing things, if we would like to be successful. And some of the greatest thinkers of the world say that complexity and dealing with complexity is the biggest challenge of the 21st century. So we need partnership for that, worldwide partnership. Everybody can contribute some elements to the solution. We must start thinking not only about limitations, about new pieces of law, about new rules. We must create win-win situations, because only if people see a benefit of an engagement in these issues, only then there's a chance that we will be successful. These are the 17 goals. As I said, we will not deal with all of them, but maybe with the most relevant for the food sector. You can see the framework. On the outside ring, those goals which are dealing with the environment, and where you see the environmental ceiling, so to say. And in the inner ring, this is, so to say, the social fundament of our societies. And between these two, there is the economic sphere. And this is the way how we would like to bring these things together. And if you look at the numbers stay here for the different goals of the SDGs. The UN made it a bit simpler, and they invented this 5P. People, prosperity, peace, partnership, and planet. These 5 Ps have to be brought together. They are of critical importance for the next 15 years. We must bring profit-making, environment, and social inclusion together. Thank you.
It's true that I have been working both at university, industry, and then for many years in banking, in Swedbank, as you mentioned. During those years, I will not been working directly with these specific issues, even though when I was at the university and during my period I did some studies in the United States. I dealt quite a lot with what then was called development economics. In all regions, not only in total, is education. Then comes better healthcare, because that is close at heart, so to say. We find that access to clean water and affordable and nutritious food is about 5th and 6th place. Action taken to climate change is the last one, below getting access to internet and telephone. Again, I guess that there aren't that many of the 1 billion people that are starving in part of this. Some of them, so to say, of the bottom. So maybe they had been ranking food higher than just being in the middle place. I show this because this is it shows two things, I believe. One thing is that once we get food and feel fairly comfortable, we suddenly seem to forget that's not at our concern anymore. That is one thing. And then the abstract things of climate change is very difficult to grasp. We can see that handling pollution of rivers is a little better. Protecting rivers, oceans and forests. Some more people, so to say, grasp there, with the exception of Africa and the Middle East, where they still have been ranking at the very bottom, so to say, even that issue. They wanted to maintain prices low domestically, because that was good for the urban people, and that's where the politicians got their vote. But if the farmers don't get paid, they won't produce. So that means, so to say, that you have the risk of production to gradually decrease and deteriorate, despite that the natural conditions might be good. I think the Sustainable Development Goals are important in the sense that they give us a joint and common target or aim, direction in where to move. And we can work on, so to say, finding out what are the bottlenecks, what are the important areas where we need progress in order to remove certain constraints. It is important that we can, so to say, provide also the poor people either with access to land or that where they can be old-time subsistence farming, or we can have financial support in certain ways that they can purchase food in the marketplace. Unfortunately, so to say, the access to land has not improved in many countries. Rather, it has deteriorated because of the land regulations are, say, not quite clear. It's somewhat blurred, I mean, who has the rights to land, etc. I'm cautiously optimistic, but there are certain major challenges, and we need to have a pluralistic approach to research and new technology, because we need more than one way to, I would say, grow more food and make it available to as many people as possible. Thank you.